Okay, for now for me more bibi akwa basa church bibia. Eye NPP amanuko na ne ndisi amanuko na eka hye ya chese abusuafo na nya asem kitwa. Ebe tuto ebe mu nyina na CCTV kama a capture owura ba akwa na chese okuta tu na chese wode paper manfo a chese enye asem kitwa kwa na moja chese eye aprum amanfo ho no enye asem kitwa bi muso epre chese abusuafo ene enya yi pa na IGP de abeto abonten anaso moye investigation afasanse mi na chese sa wura ya CCTV a capture ni ombetimi ache no na mumi nkuti ensem nchemu so be subscribe to my channel obe like o do adwenche so ebegu comment section kama.
Pollution of water. People are saying on the water of politics.
But he's just an individual. What will prosecuting him do to the electoral fortunes?
He's operating under the cover of a political party. This country,
in fact, he went there with Aziz Futa.
Oh, the
NPP Nasra coordinator. Because you see, we then decided to find out who exactly he is. And you know, they know each other. NDC, NPP, we know each other within the community. So we realized that he came there with the NPP Nasra coordinator, Aziz Futa. And that is what, and you see, if you read the police statement, it's completely disingenuous.
So what you're
this guy was holding gun openly.
And people know.
And people know this is him. At least you can show it. And you see the painful thing, the police commander in charge of operation, Alhaji ßreak, came there. And he was rather begging the NDC members to calm down.
So that these people can display.
Can you imagine? Effect an arrest. That is how you demonstrate accountability.
So, Mr. Tamaklo, what you are alleging is that the NPP Nasara coordinator is complicit in this.
I am saying that Aziz Futa came to the program. You see, the NPP parliamentary candidate has his office within that enclave. So when our supporters finished and they were on their motorbike, right? That was when the incident. So you see that most of the bikers were NDC and they were in the T-shirt. These guys were just there with the national coordinator. My point is simple. He may not have anything to do directly, but this is a guy who had been found with a gun. They had been discharged of the gun. That's a criminal offense. What you do is that you isolate him from NPP and deal with that situation as a crime.
I'm coming to you.
When Howard Kumsen, the MP, went to a registration center and fired a gun, do you know that the police commander in Central Region who was doing the investigation was immediately transferred?
Oh, really?
Yes, 2020. Take it up. That the
That's
police,
something we'll have to
yes,
look into.
please. The police investigator who investigated Howard Kumsen from Central Region was effectively transferred.
In as much as we are going to look into it, hold on, Mr.
Seconds. You see, when the police officer takes an issue of this and he suffers politically, it sends a message to the other officers. Stay your hands
What
off.
evidence do you have to suggest or conclude that he was transferred because
No, he was transferred because he was bent on prosecuting. He was bent on having Howard Kumsen prosecuted in Central Region. And the government at that time didn't like the idea. She was a minister.
Okay.
They didn't like the idea. So for that patriotism, that service to integrity that the police officer took, for that he was punished. And I'm saying that when situations of this nature happen, it sends a message to junior ranks that don't get involved, because you stand the risk of getting transferred. And you know, for police officers, the transfer processes usually disintegrate, dislodge their families and others. So they are extremely cautious. So when transfer is used as a tool of punishment, it sends a certain message across that don't get involved. Alhaji ßreak, you know this guy, you know him personally, but because he came with Aziz Futa, Alhaji ßreak has not demonstrated that he's a man enough together with IGP Dampare to arrest this guy. His pictures are all over Facebook. Meanwhile, the police are telling us that intelligence, what is intelligence about that? What is intelligence about it? IGP, no, hold on. IGP has a special unit called Police Intelligence Unit. They are judged by the Electoral Commission.
Yes.
It has been almost 12 hours since this incident. And you are telling me no.
I'm sure the police will be watching.
And like I told you, you see, whatever Dampare is doing, we are watching. We will not, and I tell you, We are never going to forever remain the victims of peace. We will not.
That's a direct threat on national TV. I don't think that's a good thing to say.
See how our guy was shot in the leg.
But I don't think.
And you want him dead.
But you think that
you want him dead. Before we come here, 8 innocent people were killed in order for Akufo-Addo to get a second term. And today, nothing had happened. How long are we going to remain this?
And you think
my supporters are watching me, and you think that I should keep quiet when our people are deliberately shot?
You're threatening violence on national television. You think that
we have every right to protect ourselves. In fact, the first law of nature is self-preservation. We'll preserve ourselves.
Mr. Owusu, you were on the floor before Mr. Tamako came in. Then I'll give the word to
clearly,
Mr.
the security agencies have to act. They have to act and be decisive. If indeed the operations director knows of this guy, the whereabouts of this guy, and it's not arrested, and we are being told that intelligence gathering is ongoing, then what are we doing? People have been shot, people are injured, 9 people. And for me, it still comes back to the issue of we having a neutral person to lead this country that will bring all sides together. The tensions are too much. For instance, over the weekend, this coming Saturday, we are going to hold a mammoth walk in Kumasi, Afro. Can you imagine we being engaged by such attacks? We can anticipate that Alan movement is walking on the streets of Kumasi, and you have some 2x4 people under the guise of NPP Nasara here and there confronting. That will be a disaster. So IGP, together with your men, you have to act decisively to save the situation. We don't want any confusion anyway.
Mr. Kwating, how do you respond to some of these direct allegations and indeed the threats that if the institutions fail to do anything about it, then the others who see themselves as victims will also take up the situation on their own?
I think first of all, my earlier comments, I still stand by it. That is something that we all ought to condemn. And my only disagreement is the fact that it looks like we are even running ahead of the police. Of course, I personally, in my own opinion, I have my own reservation when it comes to the criminal justice system and how state institutions do work here. But we should also be mindful to hasten slowly, particularly when we want to malign the same institutions that we believe will work when maybe one day we happen to be on the other side of the pendulum. It doesn't matter who is in power. Crime is a crime. And I mean, whether the police are not doing their work or they are doing it, ultimately we have to call them into account. But when we play, I mean, of course, I understand how emotional and sensitive this whole situation is.
Their concern is that it looks like the NPP and state institutions are playing ostriches.
I'm not sure that is necessary now. Because as of now, Mr. Futa here is not here to respond to the claim that he came with a guy. Please, respectfully. You dramatize the whole situation, played all manner of emotion. Let me speak. We can all do same. And even to the extent of threatening the police service and the IGP. I thought it was very uncalled for. No, can I respond? Can I proceed? Let me proceed. You have your time. Nobody say you don't have the right to protect yourself. Everybody has the right to protect himself, including yourself, including myself. But I'm saying that when the situation comes, as of now, the preliminary reports that we are getting is that 9 people are injured. Nobody has even made full disclosure of their political identities. Whether there was confrontation from all ends, whether the shooting came from all ends. We sit here and speculate. Even lawyers are speculating.
Now you can see a video. See what? You can see a video. Oh. Gun is coming from one side. You say
you saw a gun coming from one side.
Was it a gunfight?
No. That's
who goes to a gunfight with a motorbike?
If today, can I proceed, bro? Senior, if today investigation reveals that there was confrontation and that there was sporadic gun shooting, will you come here to amend what you've just the statement you've just put?
I should be humble enough to do that.
That's what I'm saying. That I agree with you when you call on the police institution to act.
Absolutely,
I agree with you when you say that there should be prosecution. No two ways about that. Even if Aziz Futa himself was the one who shot, he should be arrested and prosecuted. I agree on that tangent. But when you sit here and Mr. Futa is not here, then create a correlation, direct link between Mr. Futa and the NPP and a criminal activity. It makes it very complex for even the police to be able to deal with it. Whoever did that should be arrested and prosecuted. It doesn't matter where the person is starting.
Immediately. The video